I feel like at the end of this, there's going to be some kind of moral, and we'll be like, okay. But it has these convoluted, crazy stories that are like wild. Like someone was doing a lot of drugs, wrote a crazy story, and was like, and also don't kill your neighbor at the end. And you're like, what was the whole first 45 minutes of this about then?
Welcome to Let's Get Biblical. I'm Jonathan Giles. I'm here with the fabulous
Aisha Alpha.
We do need horns.
We do. Jesus had horns.
He did. I like to think they played horns. He probably had like a personal horn player everywhere he went.
I mean, it was Jesus. He definitely had a personal horn player, right? Like, type in personal horn player. You're not going to get what you think you want to get when you type that in nowadays onto the internet. But
Jesus had like a DJ. It's like, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Can that be your Halloween costume? Is just modern day Jesus, and you just have like someone follow you the whole time with a little like DJ booth, and they just pump you up?
Listen, he had 12 disciples. He had an entourage.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like you, I mean, if you can get 12 guys to follow you around on Halloween, go for it. Okay, but I'm just saying.
Let's go to Craigslist and type in just looking for 12 guys who like to have fun. ...
Everyone's like, I'm in. You're like, what? I haven't even told you what we're doing yet. You should say also, welcome to Let's Get Biblical. We went straight into Halloween. And yeah, welcome to Let's Get Biblical. We're excited to again share some biblical giggles with you on this day, this blessed day. Jonathan, you chose the story. This is a story that I don't necessarily know, but I want to know why you chose this one, because I feel like maybe it's like we can connect it to what's happening in life.
So the story I want to tell you today is the story of Samson and Delilah. Uh-huh. No reason beyond it's one of my favorite stories.
Okay.
Yeah. Has no connection to anything. I really looked at our list of stories and I said, this one. I take it that you have never heard of these two characters.
I don't know Delilah, but I feel like I think I know what Samson is perhaps about.
Samsonite?
Samsonite. I do know Samsonite. I know Samsung. I know a guy named Sam who has a son.
Ooh.
That's Sam's
We're
son.
close. You're circling.
But I do think I know like one thing, maybe the most important part of the story.
Okay.
Something about hair.
Something about hair. That is the most important. As I have my hair covered and yours is wrapped. Like, yes. You came prepared. Yeah, those are those subliminal messages that were in the air.
Oh, baby, if you play this whole podcast backwards, wait till you find out what we're really saying.
Okay, so the story of Samson and Delilah is in the book of Judges. And so just so for context... Judges.
Oh, Judges. Gotcha.
Like Judges, yeah. So just for context, the book of Judges is a series of like really fun, action-oriented stories. During this period for the nation of Israel or the Israelites, God would choose someone to be sort of like their leader, their protector, and they were called judges. And each judge was, some judges were wise, some judges were very political and strategic. Some judges
could dance.
Some judges could cut a rug. Yes. And in the case of Samson, before he was born, an angel came down to his mom and said, you and your husband are going to have a baby. He's going to be the next leader of the Israelites, and he's also going to be super strong. And he gave them like some rules, like you're not allowed to eat meat, you're not allowed to have any wine. Like these are things that for the mother you can't do.
The mom couldn't do. Well, she was pregnant. She couldn't have wine.
She was pregnant, yeah. I mean, I don't know what like the alcohol content of wine was back then.
Yeah, and I don't want to shame anyone. If you have a glass of wine while you're pregnant, good for you. Go for it. Do it.
Baby just won't be strong. And and the other thing was like you can't cut his hair. That was a rule that the angel told Samson's mom. So Samson was born, and the story is that when Samson became like a young man, he went out of his village. Samson would go to the town of the Philistines, and he met a pretty woman, a girl.
Yeah.
Truthfully, Samson was a hoe. Samson was a hoe.
I feel like in a lot of these stories, it all comes down to someone being a hoe.
I'm telling you, like, we're in that phase. Like, I know, like, we've told other stories, and you're like, oh, my God, that's pretty dramatic. But, again, with this particular book, as I remember it, we're in that Game of Thrones type level of stories.
Okay.
It's
We're
real
here
fun.
now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Go on, Bible. Go on, Bible.
Go off, Bible. Go off, King of the Jews. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so Samson meets this woman. Her name's like Tamara, or Tamaya. I don't
Oh, we're not
remember.
even at Delilah yet. Okay, though obviously I was like, well, obviously her name is Delilah. Okay.
Yeah, we're setting up the lore of Samson. So Samson is engaged to this person. His family's like, we hate this, but Samson's like, no, no, no. This is something God wants me to do because it's going to make the Philistines really angry. And like, there's stories about Samson going to like his wedding feast, and like a lion like attacked him, but like Samson like defeated the lion with his bare hands.
I feel like there's a lot of holes so far in this story. Samson's born after his mama couldn't have any wine or meat. Interesting choices.
Right.
And then he's super strong. He's a hoe. He goes in and he meets Tamra, and they decide to get engaged. And his family's not happy about it. Why is his family not happy about this?
Because she is not an Israelite, or Nazarite is the exact term they used back then.
Got you. So she's not part of his
Right.
clan. So they're pissed, and that's why he's like, I got to do this because it's going to piss off her clan. This is like Romeo and Juliet, obviously.
Samson was like, you my baby, it don't matter if you black or white.
Yeah, he Michael Jackson's it.
Michael Jackson did. He moonwalked and killed out. He moonwalked out and killed a lion.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about the lion part. I love that this is like on his feast. Like, where was his feast happening? That like a random lion just like comes in and only attacked him. I love the story. I love it so much. And then he defeated it. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I'm on board.
And I think, again, I don't know all the details of the feast, but culturally, I think we can imagine that a feast would last like a bunch of days. Yeah. And so, and I think, and I might be making it up, like his family didn't attend the feast. Maybe they're still like upset that he's not marrying someone from his own clan. And so her family like had this big feast, and they invited a bunch of people, and they gave like Samson like 30 groomsmen. It was huge.
I love that they're like, look, you don't have any friends. Just use some of mine. It's fine.
And so Samson, at his wedding feast, he says, he kind of stands up to make a speech, and he tells the groomsmen that I'm going to tell you a riddle. And if you figure out the riddle, I'm going to give you guys all like these really nice clothes and some Jordans. I don't know. Maybe. Samson.
The Bible is so weird. Can I just put this out? The Bible is just bizarre. And I feel like at the end of this, there's going to be some kind of moral, and we'll be like, okay. But it has these convoluted, crazy stories that are like wild. Like someone was doing a lot of drugs, wrote a crazy story, and was like, and also don't kill your neighbor at the end. And you're like, what was the whole first 45 minutes of this about then? Anyway. So he gives him a riddle.
He gives him a riddle, but he says, I'm going to tell you guys the riddle. If you get it, I'll give you these clothes. If you don't get it, all 30 of you have to give me clothes. And so they're like pissed, right? They're like, we can't figure out the riddle. So they go to his fiance's family and say, you have to convince Samson to tell you the answer. And they like threatened him. They were like, if you don't, we're going to burn your house down.
Okay. Jeez, calm down, groomsman.
So, of course, she's like, I don't want you to burn my house down. So she goes to her fiance, Samson, and says, please, please, please. Like she begs him. So Samson finally tells her the answer to this riddle, which she goes back and tells his groomsmen.
Yeah.
And now they're like, we know the answer. And Samson is pissed.
He knows the circle. He know what happened.
Samson had anger issue, if we're being honest. Like, there's a lot of things I'm sort of remembering now. There's like, oh, this boy needs a therapist. He's like, I can't wash my hair.
You just need to talk it out.
All I want to do is cut my hair. I can't. But
did he? What was the riddle? Does anybody know? Or that's
I don't remember. I don't know if anyone on this call knows.
Ask the stormtrooper behind you.
It has something to do with like honey and a honeycomb, but I don't remember the riddle specifically.
Okay.
Yeah. So Samson finds out that like they persuaded her to tell the riddle. So he goes to, I think the wedding party's kind of done now. Everyone's gone back to their house. Mm-hmm. So Samson goes and finds those 30 guys and kills them. Just in a fit of rage, he kills them. And then to like cool off, he's like, I'm gonna go back to my daddy's house. So he goes back home to his parents' house. What his fiance's dad has done during this period, I think like maybe they liked Samson or maybe they were scared of him because he was so strong.
Yeah.
But I think they kind of have decided like we can't let our daughter marry this.
No, they're not married at this point. This is just the pre-party. Okay. Couple red flags popping up here.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. They're like, nope, this is like a Tyler Perry movie. We're not doing this.
And then Medea came out of the woods. Like,
Yeah.
Girl, get
Right.
away from him. He bad news.
No, that's not. What? It's okay. I'm not. Anyways, moving forward.
You always go to Nelson Mandela whenever you try and do any
Samson.
impression of anybody.
You should not marry Samson. He's not good for you.
It's always Nelson. It's like cartoon Nelson Mandela.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I love it.
Listen, if anyone's trying to make a cartoon about the apartheid, hit your boy up.
Oh, man.
So, the father of the bride promises her to someone else. Samson finds out about it.
And he's pissed again.
Again, angry. So, the story is that Samson went out and caught a bunch of foxes. And, like, yeah, hang in there. Ties their tails together, lights their tails on fire, and then sets the foxes loose in the field where they, like, maybe grow their wheat.
Okay.
And then, wedding's over. And then he's like, I'm out.
So that was to burn the wheat? Or
I think that was just him being like, you shouldn't have given my bride away, bro. So your wheat, I'm taking all your wheat.
these poor little like, this feels like Samson kind of sounds like the worst, like, most extreme James Bond villain. You know how they always have these elaborate plans? You're like, if you're mad, just go talk to them, Samson. Or, like, you know, punch somebody. But he's like, nah, I'm going to go get me some foxes. And they're like, fuck, for what? What are the foxes? I'm gonna tie them all together, then light them up, and then put them in a field. And you're like, why don't you just go destroy the field if that's what you want to do? No. It needs to be foxes on fire.
I have actually ordered too many foxes off of Amazon.
It's like,
I don't know what to do with them.
they're running amok in my condo. I can't keep them anymore. I need to get rid of them.
You realize foxes, they just eat so much food. You know how much it costs to keep one fox? Try 7.
Gosh, a fox budget is too much, okay? In this economy? No, I can't do it.
I've stopped knowing what to name them. I named one Foxy, and then I was done. I was like,
Oh, my God. Okay, so the wheat's gone.
The wheat's gone. And so all that's to sort of set up like who Samson is. And so Samson, this entire time, he's kind of like got these sort of private wars going on with the Philistine. I don't know like contextually like how close these towns were to each other, but he was always going over there, hooking up with someone, pretty much like a harlot is how it was described in the Bible. I'm going to make the assumption sex worker, but he was like hooking up with these women. The Philistines would be like, oh, let's go get him. And Samson would be like, nah, and like fight him off and beat him up. And they were always just so irritated with Samson because it was almost like he was just doing all this on purpose just to.
Yeah.
Samson was a bully.
He's an angry hoe.
He was an angry hoe.
Yeah.
He was an anti-hoe.
And not to be confused with your hoe auntie.
No, not agreeing with y'all auntie who is a hoe.
Yeah, this is different.
It was an anti-hoe. So Samson is doing his thing, going into the Philistines' town, meeting these women, and then he finally meets Delilah. And he's like, okay, this girl, I like.
Can I just say, I just realized, and he's an angry hoe who has like violence, anger issues, finally meets someone that he likes. I'm guessing then they get together. This is literally the plot of It Ends With Us.
I haven't seen that.
I just watched the controversial movie with Blake Lively and what's his name, Baldani or whatever. This is I feel like this might be where it came from. Okay, please go on because now I need to know.
We'll see how it lands for you. So Samson and Delilah are together. Assumingly they love each other, right? A very loving relationship. And then the Philistines come to Delilah and they said, we'll pay you to help us trap Samson. And I think Delilah maybe was like, no at first, but they kept coming back to her, and eventually she said, okay. And she went into Samson. He'd come over, hang out, you up? And then he would just show up and she was like, I am up.
Is that the right response to that? I never know. I am up. Yes, I am.
Actually, I am. So Samson went over to her house, and she goes, "If you love me, you would tell me where like the power of your strength comes from." And Samson said, "Okay, if you take like, I think it was like a number of bow strings. I'm assuming like bow and arrow strings that
Oh
are
wait, bow for like a violin, a bow.
yeah, something like that. Yeah." He said, "If you tie me with those, I'll lose my strength." And so I can't remember is like he fell asleep and did it or she just did it.
She
But
was
then-
like, "Let's try something kinky tonight," you
Yeah,
know, and he's
pretty
like,
much. Yeah. He's like,
she
"Heck
just
yeah,
brings
I'm
out
gonna-"
a violin.
He's like, "You
bow.
know what I like. You know I'm a hoe."
You know I'm crazy. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I think it was like after he fell asleep, like she would tie him up, and then she'd be like, "Samson, wake up! The Philistines are here. The Philistines are here." And Samson jumped up and like broke the strings and like beat the Philistines up, and was like, "Ha ha ha! I'm still strong." That happened several times. The one time it was like a specific kind of rope that she was supposed to tie him up with. Another time, I think he said, "If you like take my hair, because again it's long, and like weave it into your looming machine," is that the right
Yeah,
word?
your loom.
Looming? Your loom, okay. And like I'll lose my strength that way. And then again, like she's like, "The Philistines are here. The Philistines are here." And Samson woke up and like broke the loom and like got his hair loose and like beat all those guys up. And Delilah had enough. Delilah was like, "You don't love me."
Oh, because he wasn't being honest. Gotcha. Another red flag.
Yeah, she's like, you think this is a joke? You think I'm a joke? If you really love me, you would tell me the power of your strength. And eventually Samson was like, "I do love you, so I will tell you." He said, "The power of my strength is in my hair. If I was to shave my head, I would lose all my strength." And she's like, "Thank you so much for being honest with me."
And then she goes and tells his enemies.
She tells his enemy. I think like they probably like had some really like good sexy time after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, we're connected as human beings. Like I could love you in ways that I never really loved you before.
Little did he know.
Little did he know, he fell asleep. Either she cut his hair or someone came in and cut his hair. And then in the middle of the night, she's like, "Samson, wake up. The Philistines are here." And he jumps up thinking he's going to fight him off again. But this time he's like, something's different. And like he's a little wobbly in his knees. And he's like, "Damn, she put it on me, didn't she?" And then Philistines come in and they take him. The Philistines like beat him up and they drag him off and they put him in prison. Here's how the rest of the story kind of ends for Samson. So Samson's in prison. He's being tortured. He's being forced to do manual labor. They like make fun of him. I think at one point, I'm pretty sure they like gouge his eyes out. Like Samson is like this is the low. As far as story arcs go, this is his cave of despair.
Yeah.
And he's in prison and he doesn't really have his strength like he used to. But I think he was in prison probably for long enough that his hair started to grow back a little bit. And the story says that Samson kind of called out to God and he was like, "Just give me the strength to do one more thing." And I'm trying to remember, I feel like there was an event where everyone was at. And it was like an event. Mm-hmm. People were there to mock him and ridicule him. Mm-hmm. And he got a kid like, "Hey, guide me to these two pillars, these two columns." And like,
because he's blind at this point.
He's blind, yeah.
Right.
He's like, "Help put my hand on these columns." And he put his hands on the columns, and this is kind of where he's like, "God, please help me here." And the story is that Samson was strong enough to like push against the columns, very Superman-like,
yeah,
and cause the columns to collapse, which then probably like people were up on like this rooftop party. They all died in this like collision of smoke and dust and chaos.
Yeah.
And that's the story of Samson and Delilah.
What? Like,
Yeah, unpack.
Here's the thing. Because Bible stories, usually I kind of get the story underneath all of the crazy sex and violence and incest and whatever, right? Like it's crazy. But there's always this underlying thread that I can be like, I get what they're saying. I understand the message. This one, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so Samson's an angry hoe, and he wants to, and he's bullying these people, and then his hair, and his mom sacrifices, and then also then the ladies, and then the fan, and then the lady betrays him, and then to get back, he just kills people. Like, what is the moral here? What's the moral of the story? Nothing about this makes sense. And the fact that they told this in Sunday school to me, even just the first part, is like wild. Because if I was a kid, I'd be like, grow my hair out so I can beat some people up. Like, that's sort of what I would have as a takeaway, I think, at that point. And like, maybe it's a cautionary tale about don't be a hoe. I don't know. I'm lost with this one. I'm completely lost with this one.
I think it's maybe fair. Anytime you see someone with a mullet, they're probably a big Samson fan.
They're like, look, I know that it's not appropriate for me to have long hair everywhere, okay? But if I can keep it in the back, I can keep some of my strength. Josh, my husband, had a rat tail.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Samson rat tail.
I didn't know that until after we were married, and then it was too hard to make any changes. So, but he showed me some pictures. At our wedding, there were pictures of like a slideshow. There was some of the rat tail, and I was like, wait, who dat? Like, no. And there's something about men with long hair. There is something about men with long hair. And I'm just going to go right into this. There is something about men with long hair that can be very sexy. Okay. And I'm not like, I mean, I know people like Fabio. I don't know if people will remember Fabio, but for me, one of the sexiest men on screen ever that I've ever seen as a child, as a young woman, whatever, was in the movie The English Patient.
Okay.
And there was one guy who was Sikh, and so they also don't cut their hair and they wear their turban. Sure. Mm-hmm. Oh man! And people, if you're listening, you might want to pause, go watch this scene, and come back after you've cooled down, because it's just him washing his hair like in a well or something, and then like doing the whole like hair flip. It is possibly, like, to this moment, I'm getting a little juicy, okay? Right. It is possibly one of the sexiest scenes I've ever seen in a movie, and it's just a dude, topless, washing his long, dark hair, and I was like, give me a man with long hair, give it to me, so delicious, yum, yum, yum. It was so hot, and I think it just makes people feel like, oh, they're viral. Viral. Like, yeah, they can grow hair. They can, like, they're strong. The
testosterone.
Yeah.
I like the idea also that anytime you see an attractive man, you're like, yum, yum, yum.
Yum, oh, that's 100%. I'm like Pac-Man. Like,
ma'am, what kind of coffee were you like?
There's something about being married that makes me feel like I can do whatever. I can, like, I can catcall men and be like, I don't care, I'm married. It doesn't matter. I don't really want you. I'm just trying.
You have a license to thrill, I think. Is
ooh, that's what this wedding ring does for me. License to thrill.
Yes.
But yeah, there is something, I think, culturally about a man with thick. There's a lot of cultures, actually, when I come to think of it. Like, Rastafaris don't cut or wash their hair. It's like that thick, like, strong, like in indigenous cultures, a lot of like the big thick braid is like warrior status, right? So like there's a lot of like things with men and hair and that ability to grow it and have it long, but also with women too, I guess, like Rapunzel and like grow your long hair, whatever it is. What is it, like hair? Something that we love hair.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think you're right though. There's something in a lot of cultures across the world. It looks a little bit different, but I think of like more like samurai cultures, like with top knots. Like there was something about just like maybe not as much about strength, but like you don't cut your hair and you lose status and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember if the Bible says it. I think Samson was probably a good-looking dude.
I mean,
I think he knew it too.
It sounds like
he would walk into a room, women would be like, yum, 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 yum. And he was like, who wants to sex Samson? Who wants to sex Samson tonight? Samsonite. That's where we got Samsonite from.
That's where we got it. If you were lucky enough to be the sex for Samsonite tonight.
He's like, hope you got some luggage, because I'm about to carry it, girl. Look at these arms. I'm strong.
Yeah, there's definitely... I mean, do you think maybe that just comes from back in the day, Like, how did you cut your hair? No one had scissors.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like like they just had to find whoever had the sharpest stone.
Yeah, grind it off.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess like if an angel goes out of its way to tell Samson's mom to not cut his hair, then they did have the ability to cut hair.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know. I would assume again like because like they weren't pulling up to the barber shop every weekend and just talking about, who won the camel race.
Is that what you guys talk about? The barbershop?
I mean, we probably talk about sports in some regard.
Yeah.
Who's got the fattest ass? There's a lot of conversation about, oh, you
Like
see that?
celebrities or just like people on the street?
Just like it depends. Sometimes like some kid's mom walks in and then it just goes complete silence, and then when she walks out, everyone's like, "Oh, you thick, bro," and that kid is still sitting there, and he has to hear all these grown men talk about
Awkward. So
Yeah.
awkward.
Oh man, there's been a lot of weird barbershop conversations that I've been around. We don't have time for it on this one.
That's a whole other podcast.
whole other podcast.
Barbershop confessions.
Hell yeah. But yeah, I think that Samson's probably a good looking dude, and I don't know if he probably knew that he had like God's power or this ability to access this super strength, if you will.
Yeah.
So he's probably a cocky little piece of what. Like he walked around and just was sort of like, I'm that guy, I'm him. And the Philistines were like, we don't like this guy. He's a jerk.
He kind of sounds like a jerk. He sounds like someone that like, I'm kind of on the side of the Philistines.
Here's what I find really interesting about this story, even as I was like kind of like trying to replay it in my head. It reminds me a lot of the story of Achilles.
Okay, so what is that one? Is like he
So,
he was dipped in something.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like some sort of messenger from that era, maybe we can compare them to an angel, came to Achilles' mom and told him that he was going to be this great warrior, but he was going to have a weakness.
Right.
And you got to dip him in the water to make him strong, and his weakness would be his ankle. Samson's weakness was his hair.
Yeah.
Samson went on to fight in the it's the Odyssey? No. What was the war he fought for the really pretty girl? Troy.
All of them?
He was in Troy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Trojan War. It was before that. So, anyways, listen. I don't have enough time to remember Bible stories.
This is not about accuracy.
I have all my stories about Greek history. But anyways, and he fell in love with someone, right? And because he fell in love with her, like, and he went to try to save her, and that's how like the Trojans or the Spartans, excuse me, were able to kill Achilles. So like sometimes when I think about these Bible stories today, I'm like, oh, like these lures of sort of humans with these extraordinary powers or whatever you would.
Yeah.
Like they all feel very similar. They've just been like changed a little bit.
Totally. I think also just thinking about that one, because your Achilles heel, that's a pretty good place to have a weakness because it's small. You could put some shoes on, you know what I mean? Like it's sort of tucked away. And then I'm thinking about like the hair. Like he just had to grow it. Like that must have been annoying to fight all these battles. And you're like, oh, hold on. Like,
Right.
Did he have it braided? Did he have it like put up in a big bun? Did he have a head wrap? Like there's a lot of things that I think in these different cultures where there's like different weaknesses for whatever. Achilles heel so far is winning out on like the most
Yeah.
secretive, the hardest to get to. Not your hair. You give it a little trim and he's like, ooh, I'm a little bit weaker. Like that's tough. That's a tough one.
I like to think that I like to think that Samson had like cornrows, or he had like did something.
Is he a
like,
white guy? A white guy
I
with
mean,
cornrows?
He's a Nazarene. I don't
Okay,
know
so he's
what
brown.
his brown. Yeah, I think brown is probably the safest. But I also like to think the Philistines is like, what are you doing? Why are you braiding your hair like that? And that's also like they gave him a hard time about it, and he was like, I don't.
That's why he really didn't like them. There's nothing about like their beliefs or philosophy. They made fun of his hair, and he was like, I don't like y'all.
He's like, I wish I could wash my hair.
I remember, this is like not fully related, but when we were, I'm half Nigerian and my family's in Nigeria. And when we went one time, my brother went to the market to get his hair braided. And they were all like making so much fun of him because at that time in Nigeria, dudes didn't braid their hair. That was like a very woman thing. And so he went and he was like, yeah, I'm going to get braids, like really nice braids. And they were like, oh, okay, you loser. And he was just like, what? Like, this is cool. And they're like, okay, it's cool. And then he came back and it was very cool. But, like, it was just such a funny thing where he was, like, so emasculated by these, women in the market. But he's like, trust me, this is cool. In, like, 20 years, you're going to realize.
You're going to realize. And then, your brother got mad and he killed 30 guys with the jawbone of a donkey.
Well, obviously. Yeah. Of course, that's what happened. You know, he's a man, in fairness, you know, after all, like.
Now he just, like, Hulk, you don't want to see me when I'm angry.
Like, I feel like all these stories, the moral of every story here is men back then needed some anger management. That's what they needed. They needed some therapy. They needed someone to give them a little safe place to be, to share their feelings, and none of this would have happened.
Yeah, none of these angels coming down were like, your son's going to be a great leader, and also I'm going to provide him some services where he can work on his mental health.
I know it's a lot of pressure for him to be a great leader and to upkeep all that hair. We've got a team coming down, okay? One to work on his hair and keep it all neat and tidy so he can fight. The other one to talk to him about how he's feeling about all of that, and how he feels when people make fun of him, and how he feels about all the deaths that he caused, because that's important.
Yeah, just go over here to Headspace, and there's a calming app. There's going to be smooth water sounds to help him calm down after the murder rage he goes on.
Yeah. I feel like he'd have to go to an actual babbling brook and just be like, covered in blood, like, deep breath in, count to 3. Deep breath out, count to 4. Like, just devastated.
Yeah, every time. Yeah. I do think that he probably did have, because that's the story where he said he was so filled with rage he went to his dad's house. I'm assuming that his dad probably put his arm around him and like, it's okay, son.
I hope so, because I feel like the dad's also a man at that time, so he's probably like, "What are you coming home? Get out there!" Like, he's probably had anger issues of his own. This is generational we're talking about here.
Now I'm going bald, and my son's got a full head of hair. I hate this.
He's like, "Let me just cut a little bit. I'll make a nice toupee." He's like, "Dad, I can't cut my hair. You know that."
We don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
Let's try it. Science.
Don't be so selfish.
We won't tell anybody. Just don't fight people for a while, all right? Take a break.
Take a break. Go to Cancun for a week. Come on, it'll grow back.
Yeah, he was like, how do I get to Cancun? I don't know, but my friend Noah, he's got an arc.
It is filled with a lot of animals so far, but you'll be fine.
Also, there's, okay.
We're so dumb. Also, his daughter is freaky deaky. Wait till the end of that story.
I thought me and Noah were at the barbershop. Boy, we had some things to talk about. That might be a good place for us to have a praise break.
I think it might be. I think we need one at this point. Yum, 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 yum.
I don't know what to do right now.
Woo! We be praising. Hallelujah. 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 Praise him. Praise his name. Ha ha ha. Oh, I'm not done. I'm not done. I feel it. I feel the Lord in me. Okay, I'm back. Whew. What just happened? I don't know. Was I speaking in tongues? I don't know.
You know that offer to invite you to church?
Yes.
I take it back.
Taking it back.
I can't have you num 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 in church.
I'm gonna be chasing men.
They were gonna be like, "Can we lay hands on her?" No, she might bite your hand off.
You can try. That's what I'm into.
That's so funny.
Oh boy.
Well,
I do think that we need to just talk a little bit about. This is gonna be a tough one. What did we learn? What's the moral? What are you feeling about? Like, maybe as a kid, I want to hear as a kid, what did you think this story was trying to tell you?
Well, okay, as a kid, I didn't care. I was like, here's Samson, here's this dude. He's like fighting off his enemies. Good, like I think we maybe have talked about this. I can't remember. Have we talked about Bible action figures yet?
Oh yes. Oh okay. Yes.
Yeah, so I think I might have had a Samson Bible action figure.
Long hair.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I don't think
that's a Barbie, just FYI. That's just Barbie.
Also, no private areas. Just
yeah.
Long hair,
definitely
no
Barbie. Long hair, no dick. That should be their slogan.
Yeah, that's the name of this episode for sure. But yeah, no, as a kid, I don't really remember like maybe there was some sort of moral about like trusting God or like even at your lowest point, God, if you come back to him, like I'm kind of making this up. I honestly don't remember like there
Yeah.
ever really being a real moral to the story beyond just loving it as the action story that it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
I think as an adult though, and this is not more of a moral, but I think there is something even in like the probably very poor way that I just told you this story. I think this is like a dark love story between Samson and Delilah. Like just the fact that we know this story as Samson and Delilah, I think that they probably had like this very beautiful love story. He had gotten out of this bad relationship. He didn't know how to deal with it. His anger and his rage came about. And I think like she was maybe like something that brought him peace and centered him a little bit. And just because like he did with the first person too. Like he told the answer to the riddle. But I think that was because he felt bad. He was like, I don't want them to burn your house down. Fine.
Also, I mean, I guess he's like, he knows maybe they're in danger. Because it sounds like these people are going back to asking these things because they're being threatened. So maybe he's like, look,
Right.
I'm going to sacrifice me for you, baby.
I think with Delilah that he knew what was up, but he's like, I love you. And so like in the beginning, it was like a joke to him. He's
Yeah.
like, I'll tell you, I'll make up all these things. It's a fun little game. Like you said, like they were probably having some foreplay out of it. Time me up. Yeah. But yeah, it got to the point where she was like, if you love me, you'll tell me. And he told her. And I think there's something sort of romantic about that. It ended very poorly for him.
Yes.
Poorly for everyone, I guess it sounds like. But I think that's my takeaway from this story today.
I like that. I mean, I think the whole time I did not see it as a love story, but now I kind of love a dark, brooding, complicated love story like this. I do like that. I think also, I mean, I like the coming back to God part because that was like, he's not strong enough to move the pillars. And God came and said, I'm always here for you. Right. And I think like for me, sometimes I think about in like low times and hard times because I'm not religious. I think about like the universe and I'm like, the universe is on my side and having to remember that and that like everybody's part of the universe. So we're all on each other's side. Like we all have each other's backs essentially at a cellular level. Like we're all trying to survive together kind of maybe is how I think of it. So I like that message too, that if when you're at your lowest, just trust in universe, God, Gaia, Mother Earth, whatever you want, you believe in that energy that like you're enough. You don't have to do anything else. That's kind of nice. I think I like that.
Yeah.
I like how I just complimented my own. I'm like, I tell a big story. I'm like, yeah, good job, Aisha. That is a good one. You're right.
You did it. You figured it out.
I like to talk these out because sometimes they're so complicated and it's like, it's really kind of wild.
Listen,
I mean, also there's something about, oh, sorry, go ahead. Tell me.
I was going to say, if you're not going to hype yourself up, who is?
Right? I hope you will, my best friend.
But I wait for you to do it first, so I know what to make sure I'm hyping the right
as
thing.
a strong, independent woman, sometimes I need someone to hype me up first, okay?
No, I agree with you. You do need someone to hype you up.
No, Jonathan. I needed it like 5 minutes ago, okay? I also think that like here's a very superficial message from it is, so one of my kids, my youngest, she has very long hair and she's very strong-willed and everything, and she loves when she's like, my hair goes to my butt, and it's like a big thing for her, right? She loves it, and it does. My other kid has short hair, and now my youngest is like, I want to cut it all off. I want to cut it all off to his level, which is a tiny little afro. And I was like, okay, we're not gonna just chop all your hair. She's like, no, I want to cut it all off. Like I want it all gone. And so I think it's a message on a superficial level, perhaps, of just like, never just go from long hair to like super short. You're going to be weak. You've lost something. Like just
Right.
don't do it. I'm refusing still to cut it that short for her. Cause I'm like, you're going to be so upset. You're going to be so mad. You don't have hair that touches your bum. Like,
Right.
I don't think you understand.
Like, you don't have to cut it all off. Just get like a little trim.
Get a little trim or just go to your shoulders.
Get a bang situation.
Don't do bangs. Don't do it. Everyone always regrets bangs. How many videos are there on social media of people being like, bangs? Oh God, I instantly regret it. Oh, I'm saying. You can always just get a clip-in bang. Just get a clip-in.
Yeah, Samson.
Yeah,
Just
Samson.
flipping.
Clip in those bangs, baby.
I am curious what kind of haircut he got when they cut off his. I think it said he had 7 locks.
Just like 7 spots where there's just like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe. I don't know.
well, I like our takeaways from this crazy story that seems to have no moral. I think we did a great job of coming up with something.
I agree. I think I knew we would figure it out.
Did you?
Yeah, I believe in us. That's me hyping you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, on that hyped note, I think we can put a little bow on it because that is the show.
That's our show.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, for having a little biblical giggle with us. Let's Get Biblical is available on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever else you might listen to your favorite podcasts. If you liked it, spread the good word like Jesus would have wanted. Tell your friends, rate, subscribe, tell people you don't like. Just tell everyone. Graffiti it on a bus stop for us.
And then once you're done destroying public property, follow us on Instagram at Let's Get Biblical Pod and comment so we know who you are. Why is my voice cracking? Am I going through puberty? Maybe. Do you have a favorite Bible story? Let us know which one it is. Maybe we'll talk about it. Thanks again for tuning in.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Peace be with you.
Peace
we love you. Peace be with you.
Peace be with you.
Peace be with you. Peace be with you. And peace be with you. American.
Silliness. Love it.